Number 21, backup ring in the side of the O-ring away from the pressure. Backup ring on the side of the O-ring away from the pressure. Backup ring on the side of the O-ring away from the pressure. So an extrusion of an O-ring seal is prevented in a high pressure system by the use of a backup ring on the side of the O-ring away from the pressure. Backup ring on the side of the O-ring away from the pressure. An extrusion of the O-ring seal is prevented with a high pressure system by the use of backup ring on the side of the O-ring away from the pressure. If you don't know what this looks like, or you haven't seen, or maybe you've seen it, you just don't know what it's called. So you have an O-ring, simple rubber ring, correct? Well, sometimes in the extremely high pressure systems, you have what we call a backup O-ring, all right? And the backup is like it looks like a plastic ring that's cut with a notch. So you put it through and it actually helps as a protector on the O-ring. It doesn't allow the O-ring to protrude because it's rigid enough, okay? So a backup ring on the side of the O-ring away from the pressure is, so an extrusion of the O-ring seal is prevented in a high pressure system by the use of a backup ring on the side of the O-ring away from the pressure. All right. Number 22, there is no fire hazard if the motor is installed. There is no fire hazard if the motor is stalled. Excuse me. There is no fire hazard if the motor is stalled. There is no fire hazard if the motor is stalled. So what is the advantage of a piston type hydraulic motor over electric motors? Well, if it's a piston type hydraulic motor, there is no fire hazard if the motor is stalled. All right? There is no fire hazard if the motor is stalled. Number 23, relieve system pressures. Relieve system pressures. Relieve system pressures. So generally the first step in removing an actuator from the aircraft is to relieve system pressure. Relieve system pressure. Number 24, we have another figure here. All right, so take a look at figure 11. An AN flared fitting is in which figure of the picture? All right, so in figure 11, you see that number 1 is an AN flared tubing fitting. AN flared tube fitting is the number 1. Okay? Figure 11, number 1 is an AN flared tube fitting. Number 25, we have another figure. This is what we were talking about before, the backup ring, right? So, which illustration shows the correct spiral for a Teflon backup ring? It's going to be 1 and 3. 1 and 3 are the correct spiral Teflon backup rings. All right, so figure 12, you'll see that number 1 and number 3 are the correct use. All right. 26, mineral base oil. Mineral base oil. So if a hydraulic brake system uses neoprene rubber backing materials, the correct hydraulic fluid to service the system is a mineral base oil. 5606, mineral base oil. All right, mineral base oil. If a hydraulic brake system uses neoprene rubber packing materials, the correct hydraulic fluid to service the system is the mineral base oil. Number 27, viscosity. Viscosity. So internal resistance of fluid, which tends to prevent it from flowing, is called viscosity. Viscosity. So the internal resistance of fluid, which tends to prevent it from flowing, is called viscosity. Number 28, The internal resistance of a fluid that tends to prevent it from flowing. Once again, what is viscosity of the hydraulic fluid? This is two questions back to back. What is the viscosity of the hydraulic fluid? It is the internal resistance of a fluid which tends to prevent it from flowing. The internal resistance of fluid which tends to prevent it from flowing. Viscosity. Viscosity of hydraulic fluid. Number 29. Flammable under normal conditions. It is flammable under normal conditions. Flammable under normal conditions. So what is a characteristic of petroleum-based hydraulic fluid? It is flammable under normal conditions. Petroleum-based hydraulic fluid, it is flammable under normal conditions. Number 30. Number 1 and number 2 are true. So when servicing aircraft hydraulic systems, the use fluid type specified to the aircraft manufacturer's maintenance manual or on the instruction plate affixed to the reservoir or unit. Or hydraulic fluids for aircraft are dyed in specific color for each type of fluid. Regarding the above statements, they are both correct. You will see the different types of hydraulic fluid based by color, which is the second one, and also you'll see exactly what it is in the manufacturer's maintenance manual and instruction plates of the reservoir units. You will tell you what kind of user to use. So they are both true. Take another quiz, and I'll see you soon.